Oh, good morning. Oh, it's afternoon. So good afternoon, everybody, at least here in Raleigh, if everybody's here in Raleigh. I really appreciate, first of all, Michelle, thank you for allowing me to take a few minutes to talk to the ladies today. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Monifa Robinson, and I am a leadership coach. I am a keynote speaker. I'm also an author. And what I do specifically is I use a Christ-centered approach, helping women, busy professional women, specifically in the areas of balance, clarity, and purpose. So that doesn't necessarily mean that we're doing Bible study, but it does mean that I definitely integrate character, integrity, and various principles from the word as I help individuals with their mindset shift and moving past things like fear. And so, what I wanted to kind of mention today was the topic of fear. Michelle and I kind of talked about the possibility of developing a group coaching session. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with fear. I remember about 15 years ago, if not a little bit more, I may be dating myself. I was working part time, but I was also running my business part time. And I remember I had written a book at that particular time and I put on a conference. And one of my girlfriends actually assisted me with the conference said to me after the fact, Monifa, you're really not doing anything. Now, mind you, I was living in Atlanta at the time. That was my very first conference that I put on that people actually paid to come see me talk. And they didn't know who I was. I guess they were more interested in the topic, which was pretty fine. I had written a book, and in my mind, I said, what have you done, right? Like, what book have you written? What conference have you put on? But I didn't say anything. I kept that to myself. And I did let that marinate. And I thought about it. And a couple of days later, I remember putting a post on Facebook that said, people think you're fearless because you've done what they have yet to do, but only if they knew the fear you had, if you were to do what you were truly called to do. After I thought about what she said, I realized that what she was saying was it's not that I wasn't doing anything beneficial. It wasn't that I wasn't doing anything productive or good, but she was trying to tell me that I was operating within my comfort zone. She was trying to tell me that there was more to me than what I was giving. And I realized that it's so easy to get comfortable in the applause of others, particularly if you're doing things that they long to do that may come easy to you. But inside, you really know if you can do more. Right. And so it was at that time and some years after that I also realized that the fear that I had that was keeping me back from doing more, from reaching outside of my comfort zone, was not only affecting me, but it was affecting every individual that was attached or assigned to me in a sense. Anybody that walked in my path was not able to reach their full potential because I did not even attempt to reach mine. And so, was it hard to move past the fear? Yes. Is it still challenging today at times? Yes, over a decade later. But I've seen the results. I've seen the fruits of my labor. I've seen how much joy and peace I not only have, but it makes me happy when I see others that come along with me, how they're reaching their potential and see the joy and peace that they have. And so, one of the things that we will like to probably present to the group at some time in the near future is a group coaching program for anybody that's interested in looking at how they can move beyond their comfort zone to reaching their full potential. Many of the individuals that I work with actually have a foot in traditional 9 to 5 jobs, corporate America. Some are in entrepreneurship full time. Some are in both. Some are still trying to figure it out, right? But all of them, what they have in common is at some point trying to determine how do I balance my life right? How do I operate in purpose? And if I'm operating in purpose, how do I operate in purpose more effectively, more efficiently? How do I move past myself and this fear that I have so that I can really, really enjoy this life that we're meant to enjoy? And so I invite you, and I'll put my information in the chat as well if anybody is interested in looking my information up. I have my website, and if you're interested in a free consultation. But I invite you to consider joining this particular program that we will be introducing soon, because it's about shifting your mindset, right? And people talk about mindset all the time, but if you're ready to do the work, then I'm ready to get my hands dirty with you, right? Do I have all the answers? No. But what I teach you is not just book knowledge. Yes, I have the education. Yes, I have the degrees. However, what I integrate are also life experiences. And I find that that's also the key that helps individuals go from where they are to where they want to be. I tell people that a lot of individuals, a lot of coaches, teach you how to get to the next level. They teach you how to get to the top, but how many people teach you how to stay there? And so that's where I come in, helping you with a lot of the internal tools that are necessary to not only help you begin to get to the top, but help you navigate the top with more grace and integrity once you're there. So we look forward to hearing from you soon. And I'll put my information in the chat. Thanks, Michelle.
Sure. I was going to ask you, with individuals working with you, what kind of tools or strategies or methodology, what does the day-to-day might look like in session?
Well, I usually work with individuals. I meet them twice a month. And they usually start off with at least a minimum 3 months. I don't like to really, I'm not one of those coaches that say you have to join an 18-month program or 24-month program. You know, I start with 3 months, foundational principles. I do have a system that I've used that talks about that focuses on the balance. 1 month clarity, 1 month purpose, another month, that actually gives you foundational principles. And if you choose to work beyond that, then we get more into the nitty gritty about what's going on in your life, even though we do incorporate that in the first 3 months as well. But we look into the nitty gritty about what's going on in your life and how we can really apply these principles and foundational tools into that. Once we meet twice a month, I definitely give homework. I'm a homework kind of girl. I like to incorporate humor and real life experiences into our coaching programs. I do allow my clients that work individual with me to reach out to me in between sessions. I'm also, I mean, I don't know, that might come back to haunt me one day, but I'm also one of those coaches that feels like if you need to just touch base with me for, you know, a small reason or something in between, I'm not going to tell you, nope, our appointment is next Tuesday at 3 o'clock, and that's the only time I'm going to speak to you. So I try to give a hands-on approach. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. I was just wondering, like, if you had things like we start with a disc assessment or
Oh, yeah, yeah, yes, yes,
we
yes. So I definitely, sometimes I use a disc assessment. I do have a short version of it. There's also a tool called Insights. Sometimes I use that. It's a little bit more lengthy version, and it helps to give me an idea of your personality as well. I also have you complete an individual preliminary questionnaire that gives, even though we may have a free consultation verbally, the questionnaire actually causes you to pause and slow down and think a little bit more critically and about what you think you might want to get out of the coaching program. Because one of the things we do is then take that questionnaire and have a conversation about what's doable and agree on what we are going to try to move forward to actually accomplish during the time that we're together. Because some individuals have lofty goals, and I'm usually one of those people. So sometimes you have to rein me in, you know. And so some people are visionaries, which is excellent. But how do we break that down so that you can feel accomplished as you move towards your vision, especially within 3 months? Because as good as I like to think I am, I'm not. This is not the Matrix. I can't give you a pill and say blue pill or red pill. You know, let's see what happens. So, Yes, and then we move from there. So once we review the questionnaire and agree on some goals that we're going to try to accomplish, we will then move from there, and our sessions, while we are still talking about balance, clarity, and purpose, are more strategically aligned to your specific needs.
Can you give us an example of a success story or maybe 2 where this is what a person wanted to accomplish and here's what they did?
Oh, sure, sure. Okay, so I had one client. Oh, yes, one client. She was actually in the process of retiring within the next 6 months. But even within that retirement phase, or her the phase of thinking about retirement, she was concerned because she wasn't sure. She had one foot into entrepreneurship and then didn't really know what she wanted to do. So I think for her, slowing down and just kind of getting some clarity and even understanding where she was financially, and now I'm not a financial guru, so I'm not doing the numbers with her, but helping her to understand where she was financially, as where she was in terms of her mindset, career wise, and retiring, helping her to determine whether or not she needed to slow down and or move forward full fledged into entrepreneurship. I think for her, slowing down was very important because her mind, she always was on the go. Like her mind never stopped. She always had racing thoughts. So that was important for her. Another client that I had was actually, she was in New Hampshire. I do all of my consultations virtually. So she was in New Hampshire, and she was actually transitioning from one job to a next because she was being laid off. Not only that, she was also managing marital concerns, and she was also managing other life concerns where she had her mother-in-law living in the home with her. So she was also somewhat of a caregiver. So helping her, and my background also is in clinical social work. I also have a master's in public administration with a concentration in management. So at times, even though we're not doing therapy, I am able to help people navigate and certain situations in that realm. And so for her, really trying to understand how she can take care of herself, how she could balance her life, while taking care of others, and also think strategically and more specifically about what she wanted in her next form of employment so that she didn't find herself in the same predicament as she was in the current employment that she was being let go from. That was helpful for her, because it once again allowed her to slow down and compartmentalize and put everything where it needed to be as she determined how to bring it all together, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, thank you for answering some questions. I'm gonna
Sure.
stop the recording now.